Oklahoma State picked up a big win against Tulsa in the season opener. We're going to walk you through that game.
We caught up with Cowboy legend Thurman Thomas before he becomes the first member of the OSU Ring of Honor at Boone Pickens this Saturday.
And this season, Cowgirl basketball is preparing for a season without a few familiar faces.
Football wasn't the only sport that OSU played this weekend. Find out how your Cowgirls did Friday night coming up.
And later on in the episode, see how the Oklahoma State men's golf team is getting into the swing of things this season.
All that and more coming up on the Poke Report.
Welcome everyone to the first edition of the Poke Report in this COVID-19 era. I'm Parker Terrell.
And I'm Kylie Janes. Let's get into our show. All of us have been affected by COVID, and I know times are tough for our students as well.
Yep, definitely Kylie, and everyone just needs to keep on being safe and wearing their mask.
A lot of us here in the sports media department know how hard it is to do our daily duties, and especially for those tasked with making content for all those folks quarantining at home. Scout Cooper took a look into the lives of those members of the media so closely affected.
COVID-19 has changed the game for everyone in the world of sports, from players and coaches adjusting long-standing protocols to fans struggling to find a way to support their favorite team. Caught in the middle is the world of sports media, whose job of bringing sports content to the masses is more important and more difficult than ever.
Well, for starters, there's significantly less media on the field that they're allowing. And I was one of them last year. I was on the field for every game, including away games. I'm normally taking pictures and filming the entire game, so that is no longer something I can do. So
media members, like Marshall, are having to get creative to fill in the void left by COVID-19 restrictions on media access. Online tools are quickly becoming the new normal for reporters who have been working in person for years.
We used to have two of us on the field and one up in the booth. Now there's only one of us on the field, one in the stands, and one at home. So they can do the Zoom interviews, Zoom post-game.
Part of the COVID-19 restrictions are that on-field media is limited to a handful of photographers and videographers who are responsible for recording the in-game content reporters are missing this year.
We are required to use a photo pool or photo bank from the team that they give all of the media.
Finding creative ways to bring content to people is more important now than ever, as only 14,000 people are allowed in the stadium on game day. Everyone else is left to watch on TV at home and fill in the blanks with the media. When everything changes due to COVID-19, it's up to people like Marshall to bring a little piece of normal back to football through the media.
Yeah, so watching the game, felt different. I actually, in the middle of the game, I turned to Sam Lane, my friend, and I said, it's almost like this game's being played across town, right? And so it's weird knowing that they're playing a game in Stillwater and like me not being in the crowd.
For the Poke Report, I'm Scout Cooper.
Thanks, Scout. It really is interesting to see how much goes on behind the scenes during game day and how much it's changed.
Absolutely, Kylie. This is a strange year, and I think media might be one of the most affected groups. Game day was certainly different on and off the field for Oklahoma State on Saturday. With fans in limited attendance, the number 15 ranked Cowboys didn't exactly run up the score as expected, but pulled out a win nonetheless against Tulsa. Injuries and poor offensive line play held the Pokes back from being their true selves against the neighbors to the east. Michael Zorales has the highlights.
The Oklahoma State Cowboys take the field with high expectations for its 2020 season, matching up with Tulsa in their first home game in front of a socially distanced crowd. The Pokes offense behind a couple of key carries by running backs Chuba Hubbard and L.D. Brown bring them inside field goal range. Alex Hale gets the boys on the board with a 27-yard field goal to take a 3-0 lead with 5:13 left in the first quarter. After a Tulsa 3-and-out, Spencer Sanders fumbles the handoff to Hubbard, and the Hurricanes take possession right back. Sanders would exit the game, limping to the locker room with an apparent ankle injury. He would not return to the field. Coach Mike Gundy could not give much of an update on his quarterback.
Well, I know that he doesn't have a serious injury. I haven't visited with anybody medically other than them telling me during the game that he wouldn't be back today.
Returning to the action, the Cowboy defense stops Tulsa on 4th and 1. After a quick Cowboy 3-and-out, the Golden Hurricane go 56 yards in 3 plays, finished off by a 16-yard touchdown pass from Zach Smith to Josh Johnson. The Hurricanes take a 7-3 lead into the half as the Boo Birds rained down from the Cowboy faithful. It was more of the same for the Cowboys after leaving the locker room for the second half. After this interception by Allie Green, the fifth, Coach Gundy had seen enough of Bullock and gave true freshman Shane Illingworth the nod. Immediately, he hits Tylen Wallace for 24 and 36-yard completions, leading to a 3-yard touchdown run by Hubbard to take the lead 10-7. Wallace was impressed with Illingsworth's debut.
I know he can play. I know he can ball. I know he can do what he's supposed to do. But with him being a freshman and coming out there, first time under, playing in the big time, big stage or whatever, you really know what to expect.
We pick it up in the fourth quarter with about 10 minutes to go, where Tyler Tipton misses a game-tying field goal attempt of 26 yards, just a chip shot. After tacking on a field goal, Malcolm Rodriguez clinches the game for the Cowboys with this fourth down sack. OSU hit another field goal, grinding out a 16-7 victory. The Cowboys will be back in action Saturday afternoon against West Virginia. For the Poke Report, I'm Michael Zorales.
Thanks, Michael. We should see a much more focused Cowboy team this upcoming Saturday. Even if Spencer Sanders doesn't play, I fully expect that whoever steps in his place will lead us to another win.
Also on Saturday, OSU will begin a new Ring of Honor commemorating past football greats at Boone Pickens Stadium, the first being Hall of Famer Thurman Thomas. Cameron Bloom caught up with Thomas before his big day.
He's already a member of both the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, he'll become the first member of the Oklahoma State Football Ring of Honor. Thurman Thomas epitomizes the loyal and true motto that is Oklahoma State football. Playing all 4 years at running back for the Cowboys, Thomas racked up almost 5,000 rushing yards. He finished with 43 touchdowns and averaged over 5 yards per attempt during his collegiate career. Before Thomas came to OSU, he had another college in mind, chasing one of his heroes he watched growing up.
I was an Earl Campbell fan. It was my hero growing up. So I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm going to University of Texas no matter what, right? So I get to Texas, and Fred Akers is the head coach. And so I walk into his office, we get to talking, and he said, we're really set at the running back position. We want you to play defensive back. I was like, oh, okay, defensive back. Well, I'm 5'9". That's not gonna work for me.
Well, it's a good thing that UT didn't want him because he thrived here in Stillwater. Nominated twice for the Heisman and put OSU football on the map.
Before he came to OSU, the Cowboys never had a 10-win season. They now have 9 total, and he was a part of 3 of them. Thomas is looked highly upon by fans, players, and even our head coach.
NFL Hall of Famer. There's only so many of those guys walking around. He tears his knee up in the spring and before the season playing basketball, and then comes back with a brace and plays on it and continues to practice hard. And I go back to if the young people that played the game today understood watching him practice, they would be much different in their approach to the game. He never protected himself at all in practice. He went 100% all the time. And that's really what his legacy is around here.
Following the first half on Saturday at Boone Pickens Stadium, Thomas will be enshrined forever in front of a socially distanced crowd. For the Poke Report, I'm Cameron Bloom.
What a legend. Thanks, Cameron. Can't wait to see the ceremony OSU is planned for Saturday. In addition to the ceremony, OSU is going to be wearing throwback jerseys during the game, the same jerseys they wore in 1987 when Thurman was tearing it up on the field.
I don't know about you, Kylie, but I can't wait to see how those jerseys look on the field. And I'm also happy to see Oklahoma State instituting a Ring of Honor to honor those legends that are out there. I'm looking at you, Barry Sanders. All right, now we're going to throw it across the studio to our Big 12 expert, Asa Lucas, as he's going to preview some of the games around the conference.
Thanks, Parker and Kylie. Welcome back, Big 12 fans. It is good to be with you again, and it is good to have college football back. The Big 12 has had an odd last couple of weeks with teams like Kansas State and Iowa State getting upset, and both West Virginia and Texas Tech winning their season openers, building momentum for their programs, and that the Big 12 will be full of surprises this year. Let's bring you those highlights now. Our first stop is in Lubbock, Texas, home of the Red Raiders, where they would play Houston Baptist. Tech would be the first team to score off a throw from Bowman to Izukunama. The last score to seal Houston Baptist's fate was a clean throw from Bowman to Carter, who broke a tackle and scored, putting the Red Raiders up 34-20. Final score in Lubbock, Red Raiders 35, Huskies 33. Next, we head off to Morgantown, where the Mountaineers manhandled the Colonels the whole game. Letty Brown would be the inaugural scorer for the Mountaineers as he sprinted down the field for 10 yards and a Mountaineer touchdown. But the Letty Brown show did not stop there. Brown would catch the pass, juke out the defender, and score again, putting the Mountaineers up by 14. It didn't just end there. Daggy would step back and throw a clean and crisp pass to Sam James, who caught it for a 32-yard touchdown. The final score, Morgantown, West Virginia 56, Eastern Kentucky 10. Other games that happened around the Big 12 these past 2 weeks. Oklahoma shut out Missouri State 48-0. Texas dominated UTEP 59-3. Iowa State lost to Louisiana 31-14. Coastal Carolina put Kansas in their place with a 38-23 win. Now for the week we all have been waiting for. Big 12 conference football is here. We didn't even know if there was going to be college football this year, so the fact that we get to watch our Big 12 teams battle for glory to reach the championship in Arlington, then hopefully win the playoffs, is quite the treat. We have a nice slate of games to watch this Saturday. First, we will have the Wildcats traveling to Norman, dreaming to upset the number 3 ranked Sooners. Then Iowa State will be looking for redemption against the Horned Frogs in Fort Worth. The number 8 Longhorns will be in Lubbock, looking to hold off an upset against the Red Raiders, and West Virginia will be in Stillwater this weekend, playing against our number 15 Cowboys. And Kansas will be in Waco, playing the Bears this Saturday, trying to muster some pride after Coastal Carolina. That's all we have time for here on the Big 12 Recap. I'm your analyst, Asa Lucas. Back to you, Parker and Kylie.
Thanks, Asa. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to look at more sports from around campus.
What is it about Oklahoma State?
This place is special.
Believe me, I know.
It's my home.
I've spent more of my life at OSU than away from it.
So here's what I can tell you.
There's just something about Oklahoma State.
We've had some pretty remarkable people pass through these walls.
People like Henry Ivan, Ed Gallagher,
Robin Ventura, and
Barry Sanders.
I could go on and on about our All-Americans,
our national champions,
and our Hall of Famers.
You could say the people are what make this place special, and you'd be correct.
But it goes beyond the people.
There's something else about Stillwater that attracts greatness.
Maybe it's the hard work that all of us have put in during our time here to make something of ourselves.
Maybe it's the trials we've endured as a family.
We've been tested in ways that most people cannot understand.
Yet we never waver
in who we are
and what we believe in.
We've proven we can win at the highest level.
But winning isn't the only reason why people choose Oklahoma State.
It's more than that.
Our fans don't just cheer for the Cowboys.
They are the Cowboys.
The culture here is bigger than all of us.
It means something to be a Cowboy.
It's the values OSU stands for.
The values of being loyal and true.
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 Welcome back to the Poke Report. Many athletes here and around the world are representing that winning Cowboy culture that is instilled in our athletes. That goes for football, basketball, baseball, golf, equestrian. What I'm trying to say is OSU makes winners everywhere, no matter the circumstances.
Speaking of golf, a former OSU golfer, Matthew Wolff, who won the 2019 NCAA Division I championship, played well this past weekend in the U.S. Open. Wolff finished second this past weekend after a standout performance. He played well on one of the toughest courses in the country. The Winged Foot in Mamaroneck, New York, where the Open was held, has been ranked one of the hardest 18-hole golf courses in the country. Even Tiger Woods chimed in before the Open, saying it's in his top 1 or 2 most difficult. Wolff finished behind Bryson DeChambeau, who shot 6 under to claim the win. But Wolff spoke about his win, saying, quote, "I battled hard. Things didn't go my way. But first, U.S. Open, second place is something to be proud of, and hold your head up high. I'm just excited to learn from this experience, and it's definitely not the last time that I'm going to be in this position," end quote. Wolff is one of many former OSU golfers who I believe will win big very soon. An OSU golfer who is still on the team, Aman Gupta, made waves this past summer as he competed in the U.S. Amateur Open. Reed Walker sat down with Aman and his coach to detail what happened at the Open and to preview this upcoming season.
Oklahoma State had another Poke competing in the U.S. Amateur Open. Just 2 years ago, we saw former Cowboy golf star Victor Hovland lift the trophy. Aman Gupta followed up with a great performance that saw him reach the semifinals. Gupta said that the performance was something he was proud of, and that there was a lot of positives he could take with him.
Probably definitely my putting that week was very good. Whenever I needed to make a putt, I usually made it. When I need to make something happen, it kind of did on the greens.
Be breaking a good bit to his left. See that rise in green. Look at that. Man, did you see Bennett running behind him there to see it? Smart. Got in there to take a look at it. I don't think.
Oklahoma State men's golf coach Alan Bratton was actually Gupta's caddy at the U.S. Amateur Open. And he said while there, Gupta flashed a lot of the potential he has. And he's hoping that they will be able to take some of that positive momentum with them into the season. The pair will set their eyes on a run at another Big 12 championship and a national championship.
Everybody continues to get better. We've got a group that's certainly capable of winning the Big 12 championship and being right in the mix at the national championship. So the goal's no different this year.
Oklahoma State's men's golf team certainly has a winning tradition. They have won more Big 12 men's golf championships than any other university. The road to another Big 12 championship continues this October 2nd, when the boys get the chance to compete in the first Big 12 match play tournament of the season, where Coach Bratton, Gupta, and the rest of the team look to get off to a hot start. For the Poke Report, I'm Reed Walker.
Thanks, Reed. You know, Kylie, golf hasn't really been that affected by COVID-19, as have many other sports.
That's right, Parker. As we've already mentioned, COVID-19 has affected sports across the country and the world. And for OSU, that's no different. OSU is set to host nationals for the cross-country team this year, but that, like so many other events, has been altered. Scheduling-wise, things are looking a lot different this year for the team as opposed to a packed and travel-heavy schedule last year. Last year, the men's and women's team traveled over 1,200 miles to compete in Tulsa, Fayetteville, Waco, and Terre Haute, Indiana. This year, the cross-country teams will compete in the Cowboy Jamboree and the OSU Invitational, both right here in Stillwater, before they go on to compete in the Big 12 Championship in Lawrence, Kansas, a mere 283 miles away.
Yeah, Kylie, and cross-country is not the only sport that's had their schedule changed due to all the craziness. I've actually heard of another team that's had their schedule changed. Equestrian will not be participating this fall after the Big 12 canceled their season. They will instead begin competition in the spring. Their season will start off on January 30th against SMU, then followed up with their Big 12 opener against TCU on February 13th. Throughout the season, they will face 3 Big 12 opponents in meets and have a handful of other non-conference opponents. Speaking of changes, Cowgirl basketball will look a bit different this year, and not just because of the coronavirus pandemic, but because of one less familiar face, the face of Vivian Gray. Taya Sappington gives us more info from Gallagher-Iba Arena.
The 6'1" forward from Argyle, Texas entered the NCAA transfer portal in August before making the decision to play for the Texas Tech Lady Raiders. Gray was an integral part of the Cowgirl offense, leading the team in scoring the last 2 seasons and finishing second in the conference in scoring with 19.3 points per game. She was also the fastest in program history to reach 1,000 career points. Gray started all 60 games she appeared in for OSU. In addition to Vivian Gray's move, Bryn Gerlich announced shortly before that she was transferring to Texas Tech as well to play for her mother, Krista Gerlich. Despite the obstacles of these recent departures and the coronavirus, head coach Jim Littell says he remains excited for the upcoming season.
We're really focusing on putting in a lot of time with all of our kids and making sure that they develop at a fast pace. And if needed, they're ready to go on the floor maybe before their time comes. Obviously, the player that brings the most experience and return success is Natasha Mack. She had great success within our league, knows what it's all about, and that's one that we looked to do a lot of the scoring, and also she's an outstanding rebounder as well.
Natasha Mack, who was just behind Gray in scoring, is returning to the hardwood for her senior year. Mack earned Big 12 Newcomer of the Year last season, averaging 17.6 points per game. Defensively, her 12.5 rebounds per game ranked third nationally. Mack says she is preparing for this season like she normally would and giving it her all in practice.
Only difference I feel is that not playing like more teams before we actually play conference. But other than that, it feels the same. I'm ready to play.
The start of the NCAA men's and women's basketball season will be November 25th. However, there will not be any exhibitions or scrimmages this season, and a schedule for the Cowgirls has yet to be released. For the Poke Report, I'm Taya Sappington.
Thanks, Taya.
In the other locker room, the men's basketball team has been dealing with COVID in a similar capacity to the women.
That's right, Kylie, and the team got some welcome news when the NCAA announced when the 2020-2021 start date would be, and that is November 25th, 15 days later than originally planned. Nonetheless, the men's team was excited to share the news with their loyal Cowboy fans and released a clip through social media for us to enjoy. Although the clip doesn't give us too much new information, or any information at all for that matter, it should be a welcome sight for all Cowboy fans. It leaves many questions to be answered, but for now, the players and coaches will be looking towards practices beginning October 14th. There is some welcomed excitement surrounding the team this season, with a recruiting class rated as the 13th best in the nation, largely in part to the #1 recruit in the nation, freshman guard Cade Cunningham. Kylie, I for sure hope that we get to see this Cowboy team come March.
I couldn't agree with you more, Parker, but it was some rough news for Cowboy fans this summer after the NCAA dropped penalties on the basketball team for recruitment violations by a former coach. Oklahoma State received a 3-year probation, including a postseason ban this year. OSU immediately filed an appeal, stating, quote, "The university is stunned by the severity of the penalties and strongly disagrees with them. The penalties do not align with the facts and are unfair and unjust." The NCAA appears to have made an arbitrary decision in the sanctions applied to the institution for the egregious actions committed by a former coach that did not result in any benefit for the university, end quote. The NCAA tournament is currently scheduled to start March 16th.
All right, Kylie, when we come back, we're going to look at some Cowgirls soccer, and then we are going to make some predictions for the football game this upcoming Saturday. Be sure to stick around. Welcome back to the Poke Report. Cowgirls soccer is officially underway, and I can't wait to see another Big 12 title stick around here in Stillwater. To start the season, the Cowgirls are 2-0, but they're lucky to still be undefeated after the crazy game last Friday against Iowa State. Mason Harbor has the recap.
After having their first game against Oklahoma postponed due to COVID, the Cowgirls bounced back nicely last weekend with a 3-0 win against Kansas State. They opened here against Iowa State last Friday night.
Both teams struggled to find a rhythm early on in the first half, likely due to the 15 total fouls committed by the two teams. Despite the fouling issues, OSU showed why they're the reigning Big 12 Conference champions. They controlled the possession and kept the ball mostly in Iowa State's territory for much of the half and outshot the Cyclones 7-3. Even though the Cowgirls controlled the first half, they could not find a way past Iowa State sophomore keeper Jordan Silkowitz, and the two teams remained deadlocked at 0 heading into the break. The game's pace picked up rapidly after halftime as Iowa State broke through first with a thundering strike from forward Cassie Ginther off a deflection. OSU answered almost immediately as Cowgirl freshman midfielder Grace Dennis played a wonderful ball over the top and found senior striker Gabriella Coleman, who makes a nice move and carefully slots it past Silkowitz. Both teams settled in after that, and neither team mustered much offensively until some late fireworks in the 87th minute. An OSU player was taken down in the box by the keeper and was subsequently awarded a penalty. Senior Kim Rodriguez stepped up and had her shot saved by Silkowitz, but the referee determined she stepped off her line too early and awarded another attempt to OSU. This time, junior Grace Yoakum stepped up for the Pokes and rifled a shot past the keeper and sealed the deal on a 2-1 victory for the Cowgirls, their second on the season.
That's one of the deals, I think, with this early in the season, having Big 12 games, is we haven't got a chance to watch each other a whole lot yet. So they built from the back a little bit more than we expected. And so it took us 15-20 minutes to start pressing them a little bit, and I thought we started turning them over in their half of the field, and I think that swung the game in our favor.
OSU will play another home game Friday night as West Virginia travels to Neil Patterson Stadium in a top 10 matchup. For the Poke Report, I'm Mason Harbor.
Thanks, Mason. All right, Kylie, before we close out the show, let's do some predictions for some of the Big 12 games coming up this Saturday. First game, OU Kansas State.
Parker, I really think OU is going to go on with this one. It's a big revenge game for them. That was their only loss last year. I got them winning big this year, 49-14.
Yeah, Kylie, I think OU continues to be the best team in the Big 12, and I think that they, as you said, are going to come out for revenge and take it out on this Kansas State team who had a tough first week. I'm looking at a big score, like 51-10, around that area. So, second game, we're going to talk about Texas and Texas Tech. So what are your thoughts on this game? It's kind of an in-state rivalry, if you will.
Right, Parker. For this one, I really like Texas's offense. I think Sam Ehlinger is going to pull one out on this one. I got Texas winning big, 38-10.
You know what, Kylie? I might just have to totally agree with you, and I'm going to stick with that same score. I'll switch it up a little bit. I'll say 38-13. And finally, OSU versus West Virginia this upcoming Saturday in Boone Pickens Stadium. Kylie, what are your thoughts on this game?
Parker, I'm excited for this game. There's a lot of kind of things up in the air right now with Spencer, if we don't know if he's going to be back. If he does come back, I do have us winning big. If he doesn't come back, I see us making it a close one. I think 28-21.
Yeah, I think that they're going to bounce back. They're going to be locked in and more focused this week. Even if Spencer Sanders doesn't play, they'll have a guy that's ready. They've had a guy that's been practicing. I think OSU pulls this one out, let's say like 35-21, something like that. All right, for everyone here at the Poke Report, I am Parker Terrell.
And I'm Kylie Janes. Thanks for tuning in.
Because of Cass, I'm more confident behind the camera.
Because of Cass, I have found lifelong friends and amazing mentors.
Because of Cass, I will be able to teach English in Cambodia with the Peace Corps.
Because of Cass, I had the opportunity to intern on Capitol Hill.
Because of Cass, I got to sing at the Vatican.
Because of Cass, I was able to present my research and I won a scholarship for it.
Because of Cass, I'm Miss Black OSU.
Because of Cass, I can help someone else find their voice.
Because of Cass, I'm able to not only have one, but 2 internships for the summer lined up already.
Because of Cass, I am confident in leadership positions.
Because of CAS, I'm excited for my future and the opportunities I have within my major.
Because of CAS, I can do it, and so can you.